Hey, good morning, East Texas. Thanks so much for joining us on the CBS 19 Plus live stream. We're live on CBS 19 Plus. We're also live on YouTube, our Facebook. We're currently having technical issues, but we are working as fast as we can to get that back up so we can live stream for you guys there as well. Now, I will be periodically going and checking our YouTube comments, and I'll do my best to get to any questions that you may have while we're on this live stream. But let's talk about the current weather alerts. We currently have a severe thunderstorm watch that is active for all the areas that are highlighted in pink on your screen. That includes Smith County, that's Van Zandt County, out toward parts of Dallas County as well, and it goes all the way to the state line, stopping right around I-30. It does go all the way down to Nacogdoches County. We do have a tornado watch that is also active. These both go through 4 p.m. Houston and Trinity counties, you're currently under that tornado watch. The rest of it is closer to central Texas, heading out toward the Waco area. Now, if you are under that tornado watch, you need to make sure that you are staying weather aware. During a tornado watch, that doesn't mean that we have a tornado on the ground. It just means that it is possible or likely under the areas that are shaded in yellow on your screen. So most of us under some sort of severe weather alert, make sure that you are staying weather aware. Here's a live look at our radar. You can see what's happening outside right now. I am tracking kind of a very active cell, a lightning cell almost out toward Gilmer and off to the west. We are seeing some severe thunderstorm warnings that have just recently been issued. Let me go ahead and put a pause on this. That way we can figure out what's happening. There have been a few severe thunderstorm warnings out toward central Texas. Another one that was just issued for areas out toward Navarro County that is getting close to Henderson County. I have not seen any indication that they plan to continue it into Anderson County, or I should say Henderson County, but just make sure that you are staying weather aware. That is all for decent sized hail, so make sure that you are staying under cover. I'd recommend staying indoors until the cell passes you by. Once again, this is just off toward Navarro County. We've seen wind gusts of this moving very quickly, over 60 miles per hour, and quarter-sized hail. Let me go ahead and throw a track on this because it is heading up to the northwest, or I should say the northeast, rather quickly at about 35 miles per hour. And we just got a secondary severe thunderstorm warning. I'll go ahead and tell you about that in just a second. You can find your city on the top left-hand corner of the screen out toward Bezette. That's going to reach you closer to 11:51. Tool closer to 11 o'clock is when that severe thunderstorm warned storm is set to make it to you. Canton, it will take you a little bit longer, closer to 11:45 when you'll start to see that severe thunderstorm warned storm. Once again, we are talking about this one right now that is in Navarro County. So if your city is listed here in the path of this cell, make sure that you are staying indoors. Gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour or higher, and then decent sized hail. Make sure that you are staying indoors as this passes you by. Now, we did just see a secondary severe thunderstorm warning get issued. That was just up to our northwest. Let's go ahead and investigate this one. This one is new. It was put out for this very electric cell. I've been watching it, and you know what? Let's just get a check of the amount of lightning that's in it. This was over the past 15 minutes for everything that's in the red polygon. 305 lightning strikes according to our lightning counter. Lots of lightning. Remember, if you hear thunder, you can get struck by lightning. You need to make sure that you are staying indoors. When thunder roars, go indoors. And of course, remember that lightning can strike up to 10 miles outside of the parent storm, so you want to make sure that you are staying inside. There is some decent sized hail coming out of this as well. Previously, when it crossed through parts of Smith County, it was producing about pea-sized hail. That has gone up a little bit. That's closer to the size of a quarter, so larger there. We are seeing wind gusts at around 60 miles per hour, and it's moving up to the northeast also at 35 miles per hour. So let me go ahead and throw a track on this so you can figure out when it is going to reach your city. Once again, it's moving up to the northeast, so toward Pittsburgh, Mount Pleasant, and into Boston, up toward the Texarkana area. So it's this cell right here that's crossing into Pittsburgh. If you live in Pittsburgh and you haven't heard those rumbles of thunder, you will very soon. If you take a look at the top left-hand corner of your screen toward Harvard, that's going to reach you about 10 minutes before 11. So we're giving you about 5 minutes heads up on that before the leading edge of the storm will reach your area. It's about to get very rainy there. Cookeville, that will reach you closer to 11:11. New Hope around 11:45. Make sure that you are staying inside. Once again, decent sized hail out of this. So you'll want to make sure that you are staying out of that hail. If you are in your vehicle and you're planning to park and go inside somewhere, you'll want to park under cover to protect your vehicle as well. So let's just take a wider look and see what's happening here. I have been seeing lots of thunderstorms really begin to pick up across our area, but it's this main line back to the Dallas area that I've really been tracking. Gusty winds out of that. That's taking the form of what we call a squall line. That's a line of showers and thunderstorms. Now it's moving into our area. That's something that you really need to make sure that you are staying aware about. It is moving off to the east at about 45 miles per hour, and it's been holding that speed rather consistently throughout the entire morning. I've been tracking it since we got on the air on Morning Hill at 5 a.m. So let me give you a track on it. It's mostly going to be out to the Dallas area for the next hour or so, but we can still get a track on it in case you have any friends or family that live out that direction, or if you are planning on heading out to the west for any travel plans today. Irving, that will reach you closer to 11:54. Dallas, closer to 11:13. The leading edge will reach Corsicana around 11:16. So we'll be on air on the noon show as that reaches Corsicana. And from there, it is expected to continue out to the east and impact parts of East Texas. Now, as it gets to our area, it's going to kick up lots of gusty winds, the potential for some hail, heavy downpours as well. Here's your future skycast. This is going to move in sometime through the rest of the afternoon, and then we'll likely be dealing with it throughout the rest of the afternoon and into the early evening. This is set to impact your evening commute home from work, so be prepared to spend a bit of extra time on the roadways and be prepared that it's gonna be a bit of a nasty commute. So make sure that you have your windshield wipers going and that you are driving safely. We're still dealing with it around the 6 p.m. hour. Winds are set to get a little bit gustier for parts of our eastern counties. Be prepared for areas out there. I am tracking quite a bit of storm energy through deep East Texas. If we're going to see some sort of spin, a potential spin-up tornado, it's going to happen in deep East Texas. Now, I'm not saying that will for sure happen. We just do have a possibility. That's why we're seeing a level 3 risk pop up across the majority of deep East Texas. That includes parts of Houston and Angelina counties, out toward parts of Nacogdoches County, clipping Shelby County, and going down towards Sabine County and all the way out toward the Houston area. Make sure that you are staying weather aware because we are tracking all sorts of weather hazards today, specifically in that orange blob through deep East Texas. Now, we could get a few scattered strong to severe thunderstorms that are in the area shaded in yellow on your screen. That's where we're seeing the level 2. But really the bulk of that storm activity is set to move out to the south. In terms of what to prepare for, flooding is going to be a big issue for us, especially for those who live along and north of I-20. Otherwise, damaging winds, hail, and once again, the potential for a tornado. So make sure that you have multiple ways to receive weather information and that you are keeping up to date with the forecast. We're going to help you do that here at CBS 19, so keep checking back with us for the latest. Now, in terms of rain totals, over the next 12 to 24 hours, we are set to pick up over an inch of rain for areas along and north of I-20. Through deep East Texas, things will stay a little bit drier, but it is still going to be a rather soggy day. Because of that, a flood watch is currently active. That goes all the way through 7 a.m. tomorrow for the counties that are highlighted in green on your screen. Remember to never drive into floodwaters. It doesn't take much water to wash away a vehicle. Only about 1 foot of water is needed to make a storm float, or I should say to make a vehicle float. And then it takes about 2 inches, or I should say 2 feet of fast moving water in order to see something get washed away. So please make sure that you're staying cautious and never entering floodwaters. And other things to do to stay weather aware: make sure you turn your emergency wireless alerts on. That's going to be the big buzz on your phone when you hear an Amber Alert, or if there's a severe thunderstorm warning that's issued in your area. You've probably heard them if you've ever been in a tornado warning before. It's that big buzz. Make sure that that's on and you can hear it. That way you're alerted in case there is a warning in your area. And of course, don't just rely on your phone. Make sure you have multiple ways to receive watches and warnings. One of them can be your phone. Another one can be us here at CBS 19. Just make sure that you have a way to watch us that's not directly through your phone in case your phone battery dies or you lose access to internet or cellular data. TV is a good one as well, or if you have a radio. We will be simulcasting with our radio partners, so if we do need to break into coverage, we'll be simulcasting there. Also, slow down on the roadways and make sure that you are staying cautious out there. A lot of us, when we run into issues with big rain events, is because we try to cross water that we don't know how deep it is, and it really doesn't take much. I already mentioned those storm amounts or that flood safety totals. So really make sure that you are just staying away from driving into any flood waters. All right, I'm taking you live outside. If you take a look outside our CBS 19 studio, lots of clouds out there. Temperatures currently sitting around 65 degrees. I do think that we could warm up a little bit more before we start to see the storms come in. You know, once we start to see the rain and the thunder and that big long line that I just showed you, temperatures are going to start to fall. So we're not going to get much warmer than this. That puts us at 68 degrees in the Rose City and in Henderson. A few areas may climb into the 70s and 80s. That's through deep East Texas. Now, the warmer we get, the more potential that we have to see some sort of severe thunderstorm or the potential for a spin up. And as we start to see these 70s and 80s through deep East Texas, that's something that we have to really keep a close eye on. So we'll continue to watch that. Otherwise, the majority of us will only make it to the 60s today. Tonight, temperatures are not falling that much. We'll only go down to about 64 in Tyler and Longview, 65 in Lufkin, and 64 overnight in Crockett. Now, there is a chance that we see a few scattered showers lingering into the sunrise hours tomorrow. That's mainly going to be out to our southeast, towards Sabine and St. Augustine counties, maybe even Angelina County as well. Just scattered showers. I'm not tracking anything severe out of this as we head into tomorrow. A lot of us will see cloud cover. We'll see just some scattered showers out to the southeast. Again, nothing that's going to create a big weather impact to you besides needing your rain gear. So no severe weather in the forecast at that time. Otherwise, rain chances do begin to pick up again as we hit Friday and Saturday. Otherwise, we finally have some sunshine as we head into Mother's Day weekend. Let me show you why this is all happening. It's this low pressure system right here. That's beginning to slide over the East Texas area, or I should say over the Lone Star State in general and through parts of Oklahoma. That's giving us the extra energy that we need to get these showers and thunderstorms going today. As that moves off to the east, it's going to get kind of stuck. It's going to cut itself off from the rest of the atmospheric flow and the jet stream. And when it gets stuck, it's going to get stuck near Louisiana and East Texas. That's close enough that we could get a few thunderstorms thrown our way. However, I'm watching this high pressure system. By late Saturday into Sunday, that's going to shove the low pressure system out of here. And eventually we have clear skies returning as we hit Mother's Day weekend. That means Saturday and Sunday are looking mostly nice. If we don't have sunshine by Sunday, we will definitely have that by Monday. I'm going to go ahead and switch back over to our radar, give you a check of what's happening right now while we're still on our live stream. We are seeing quite a few severe thunderstorm warnings get issued. There is, it looks like this one was just expanded since I last showed you our radar. That includes parts of Mineola and out toward Mount Pleasant. That does include parts of Upshur County as well as parts of Wood County. And it does continue off to Camp and Morris County as well. That severe thunderstorm warning is active all the way through 11:30 today, so you have a little over 30 minutes on it. Once again, wind gusts over 60 miles per hour. That is enough to cause damage to roof shingles or to tree branches, so make sure that you're staying aware. Some of us, when we get strong wind gusts like this, do experience power outages. So if you do have a phone or an extra battery pack and you still have power, it wouldn't be a bad idea to go ahead and plug that in. This is going to continue to move up to the northeast. It's been moving at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. These ones are a little bit slower. This cell in particular is moving at about 35 miles per hour. So it'll continue to move along I-30. If you were planning on heading on I-30 from Mount Pleasant out to the Boston area, I'd recommend holding off on that just a little bit because we will see this cell kind of cruise through over the next 30 minutes to an hour or so. I'm putting a track on it for you right now. All right, so it should reach Boston closer to 11:45 toward Whaley around 11 o'clock, or I should say around noon, is when this particular cell is going to move through toward Delby Springs. It will reach you in the next 20 minutes or so. So make sure that you are staying weather aware. I'm going to go ahead and take a wider look and see what's happening across other parts of our area, especially out to the Dallas area, because that's where we've been seeing very gusty winds. In fact, let me see if I can actually get a radar sampling of our wind. So I'm going to have to change our product here just quickly. You're going to see it change to a red and green wind tracker. Oh, it looks like we just got a new tornado warning out to the south. Okay, this is south of Waco, out toward Shelton and Franklin. That's not in our area. but I do want to just go ahead and diagnose it while we're on the air. All right, we are getting a bit of interference. That's what you're seeing for the areas that are highlighted under this purple color near Cyclone and toward Edgewood, toward Burlington as well. Where you're seeing that blue and the green, that's very gusty winds. And we have seen a bit of rotation trying to form on radar. This is part of a larger severe thunderstorm warning. Once again, not in East Texas, but it is out to the south, out toward the Waco area, so near Temple, in central Texas there. We're going to continue to keep an eye on that. Alrighty, let me go back to this line that I've been talking about. So I'll just switch back and forth so you can see where the line is, out toward Louisville and toward DeSoto, out toward Waxahachie. Where we're seeing the gustiest winds, though, are between Louisville and back up toward Gainesville. So let me switch over here, and we will get a check of how gusty those winds are. So this is, once again, just a radar estimate. Oh, whoopsies, it looks like I have to turn our watches and warnings off to get that. Alrighty. Let me go ahead and clear all of this off. Okay. Already apologize for that. Now we are good to go. So we're going to get a check of how gusty these winds are. All right, these are coming out from our radar estimates closer to 20 miles per hour. I suspect they'll continue to get gustier through the rest of the day. We're going to continue to keep an eye on it. Remember, within those severe thunderstorm warnings, the National Weather Service has said we've gotten wind gusts around 60 miles per hour, and that's what helps to classify them as severe. They officially need to be over 58 miles per hour to be considered a severe thunderstorm warning, or to be considered a severe thunderstorm. But of course, we are going to continue to keep an eye on that for you. Let me go ahead and switch back over to our reflectivity. We can get to see an idea of where things are. So it's kind of this little track here that we're seeing out from the Waco area, where we have that tornado warning toward Athens and to Canton. This line of cells, which is out ahead of that line that we're tracking. This one is the squall line. These little isolated cells, which are out in front of it, are where we're seeing the severe thunderstorm warnings. We do have a significant amount of storm energy that's out ahead of that line. That's what's known as CAPE, convectively available potential energy. And essentially that is just thunderstorm energy. It feeds off of it like gasoline. Now we are seeing that begin to build out to deep East Texas. So we'll likely see a few more thunderstorms as they move into an active environment. They may begin to pick up, especially out towards central Texas, Waco. I bet toward Bryan we could see some severe thunderstorm warnings begin to pop up. Deep East Texas is starting to see some of that convectively available potential energy. As that collides with the thunderstorms, there's a chance we could see things pick up ever so slightly. Let me go ahead and switch back over to reflectivity, see what we're looking at right now. Once again, that tornado warning is not in East Texas, down toward the Waco area and toward Bryan, where we do have lots of that thunderstorm energy, which I just showed you. Up toward Dallas, just some gusty winds out there. We are tracking significant hail out toward the Gilmer area, toward Pittsburgh. I saw some reports of it in the National Weather Service chat saying that it was very decently sized, so make sure that you are staying indoors as that passes you by. There are a few more little pockets of hail out toward the Corsicana area, lots of lightning, as well as some gusty winds, so make sure that you are staying weather aware. Now back into the Dallas area, where a lot of these storms have already moved through, and where you're seeing that heavy rain band come through. You're seeing that purple polygon. It's kind of hard to see on our graphic here, but that's where you are under a flash flood warning. So parts of Denton, Johnston, Parker, and Tarrant County is where that is currently active. That's because we've had intense rainfall come down, and you'll likely see some flooding if you're heading out to that area. Let me get a check of how much rainfall from our radar estimates have come down in the past 6 hours or so. It may take just a second for our data to load in here, because this is a rather large data set. So if you're not seeing anything on your screen, just give it 1 second. Lots of rain. I was watching it on radar this morning. Things did look rather menacing out to the West Texas area as it's beginning to move into the Dallas area. Lots of rainfall out there, and that's what's causing those flash flood warnings. Now in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it is rather prone to flooding just because it is an urban environment with all of the concrete and the freeways and the roads out there. That means there's not really a place for the water to go. It just becomes runoff, and then that can cause a flash flood warning. Here in East Texas, we don't have quite as much concrete. Oh, there you go, live look for you. Brad, can you pop that back up? Thank you. This is a live look in Dallas for you. You can see very fast moving clouds. That's indicative of the gusty winds out there. We can't really see any of the roads from this particular camera view, but I suspect that there's some ponding on the side of them, especially given what I've seen from the National Weather Service. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Now, I went ahead and put our warnings back on here. Let me go ahead and see if I can isolate just the flash flood warnings. Thanks for your patience as we go ahead and do all of this. I need to turn off just, there we go, if I can. Alrighty, it looks like I don't have the ability to turn off the severe thunderstorm warnings. All right, there we go, we got it. There are 2 flash flood warnings. Currently around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. One is going through 1:30 today. That's for the Fort Worth side. On the Dallas side, that goes through 2 p.m., so a little bit longer into the day. And that's just due to the intense rainfall that came down and more rain that is currently on the way as we speak. Now, that flash flood warning is just due to the automated rain gauges. They indicated lots of thunderstorms. The National Weather Service then confirmed that, so they're going to continue to leave that in effect. Remember to turn around, don't drown when you are entering flooded areas, so just don't enter the flood waters. Most flooding deaths do occur in vehicles, so make sure that you are staying weather aware. In terms of rainfall amounts, from our radar estimates, those are anywhere between 0.15 inches all the way up to about 3/4 of an inch. Again, that's for the blue. That's where more rain has fallen according to our radar estimates. Here in East Texas, we haven't really received much yet today. Now, what you're seeing, that little strip of blue from Mineola back to just east of Athens, lots of rain came through. There was a severe thunderstorm, warned storm that moved through. And that's why we're seeing all of that heavy rainfall there. We don't have any flash flood warnings currently that are active across East Texas. The closest one is out to Navarro County, and that one goes through 2:15. There is a chance we start to see these flash flood warnings popping up through the rest of the day today. I recommend making sure that you have your emergency wireless alerts turned on. I'd also recommend downloading the CBS 19 Plus app. That way we are going to send you alerts if there are any severe weather alerts in your area, so that way you can be prepared. Let's switch back over to our radar Titan indicators. Lots of hail out to the Mount Pleasant area right now. Again, gusty winds, those are in excess of 60 miles per hour. Our Titan indicator is going off, showing just a bit of rotation in there, so let me go ahead and diagnose it and see what we are in fact looking at. Alrighty, I'm not seeing anything terribly concerning here, just a bit of broad scale rotation. So that Titan indicator, once again, goes off based off of preset computer data, and it'll run it through an algorithm, and that's why it's doing that. What it's likely picking up on is this area where you're seeing the slightly brighter red from Pittsburgh back to Newsom, and then a little bit of almost pixels of green there that are right up against it. This is indicative that it's trying to maybe kind of lumber and turn. That's not enough to indicate any sort of rotation or anything that is even trying to come down. That's normal for a thunderstorm of this size, where you'll start to see the entire thing have very, very broad scale rotation. So nothing too concerning over there. But again, that's why our Titan indicator is going off. Otherwise, lots of heavy rain is currently coming down, so make sure that you are staying weather aware. And of course, make sure that you have at least 2 ways to receive weather information. Once again, we do have a tornado watch. I do want to reiterate that. That goes through 4 p.m. for areas to the south. Houston, Trinity County, you are our only East Texas cities that are, or counties, I should say, that are included in that. That does stretch back out to the central Texas area and toward Waco. But here in East Texas, there is a chance we see this extended to other parts of East Texas. I was communicating with the National Weather Service a little bit earlier today. They said that there's a likelihood that we'll see this tornado warning, or I should say watch, tornado watch extended for areas out to the east in deep East Texas. We'll get more information in from them throughout the rest of the day today. They're kind of waiting to see how this shapes up. At least that's what they said. So make sure that you continue to check back for the latest on the forecast. Otherwise, the severe thunderstorm watch is still active for 4 p.m. for all the counties that are shaded in pink. That's where we could see wind gusts over 58 miles per hour, so around 60 miles per hour, and we could have about quarter-sized hail. So make sure that you are just staying prepared for that. Under the severe thunderstorm watch, as long as you are staying indoors when that storm passes you by, you should be good to go. Watch out though if you are leaving after the storms, because there could be some debris on the roadways and we'll likely see some ponding out there as well. Once again, the tornado watch, you need to have at least 2 ways to receive weather watches and warnings. One of us can be us here at CBS 19, another could be a NOAA weather radio, another could be over the air on broadcast. Right now we're only on our streaming service, but if there is a warning, not a watch, a warning, that's where we would break over the airwaves. You want to have that, and of course, just know where your safe place is in case you need to access it. It is East Texas and it is spring, so we've probably gone over our severe weather training by now, but if you haven't, just make sure you know where to go in the event that there is a tornado warning in your area. That's going to be the lowest level of the building with as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Oftentimes, a closet or a bathroom is a good choice, but of course, just make sure that you are staying aware and make a plan for you at your place of work, and make a plan for your kiddos at their school as well, and of course know what to do if you're at home. If you're in a vehicle, do make every possible effort to get to a sturdy shelter, and if you live in a mobile home, the National Weather Service recommends that during a tornado watch, even before the warning gets issued, that you do find a sturdier structure, because a tornado, it can cause significant damage to a mobile home, more so than it can to a permanent structure. Once again, I don't want to scare you, but I want you to make sure that you are staying aware and prepared ahead of what is likely going to be a very stormy afternoon and evening. Here's another look at our radar right now. We do have one that's going to be a severe thunderstorm warning up to our northwest. That's near Mount Pleasant, stopping just short of Gilmer, and Pittsburgh and Winsboro are included in that. There is a tornado warning, not in our area, closer to Killeen and Waco. We're just making you aware of that in case this cell does to try to move into our area. I don't think that it's going to do that, but of course we'll continue to keep you updated. Another severe thunderstorm warning near the Corsicana area, not currently moving into Henderson County, but it does have its sights set that direction, so we'll continue to keep you updated. And of course, a severe thunderstorm warning near Dallas and Dallas County, stretching up, going through Plano. Again, gusty winds, hail, and lots of lightning out of that one as well. Well, we're going to let you go here. I'm going to go ahead and throw on our 7-day to end things. Remember, you can continue to keep up with our radar. We'll have it streaming on CBS 19 Plus. And of course, if you go to our app, we do have live radar there as well. If you click on the weather tab, scroll down just a little bit, it'll say interactive radar. Click on that one. You can also visit the National Weather Service homepage. They'll continue to have a live radar playing there. For areas Smith County and out to the east, you'll want to visit the National Weather Service Shreveport homepage. And for areas in Henderson County and out to the west, you'll want to visit the National Weather Service Fort Worth homepage, and that will be a more accurate radar for you. But otherwise, thanks so much for joining us on the CBS 19 Plus live stream. I'll have more for you if you tune in at CBS 19 News at noon. Thanks so much for joining us.